Hello, my weirdos and wild ones. It is lovely to see you again. Actually, this will be our first sighting. Oh my god, it is a sighting. It is a Vi Phoenix sighting. It's an abysmal witch sighting. Because for those of you who may have encountered me on Pennies in the Well podcast from so very long ago, I mean, it's still there. It's just that I haven't podcasted in so long because life and whatever, it does not matter. It's not about right here and now. But for anyone who did do that, you never got to see me. So now you can see me if you are hopping over to an abysmal perspective, which is what or where this video is going to get uploaded to. Since this is the first one in this channel, I will give you the lowdown, the skinny, oh my god, my references are so out of date because I am old, people. I am old. I have passed a half century. It's set some number of years ago that I will not mention. I have green hair, well, peacock green, so it's kind of a blue green, so that we don't see the gray. We don't talk about gray hair. No, no, no. I'm also, if you are seeing this on YouTube, driving because seriously, this is the time I have. This is when I can sit and chat with you and share thoughts and experiences and concepts and just talk magic and all the fun and crazy stuff is while I'm driving. Because when I'm at home, there are other things that are taking priority that should be taking priority. Oh, to talk about a journey between goal setting and prioritization and values and what do I want from life and working it down into, well, what does that mean on all the levels of time? And here we are. I am happy to say that this is finally coming into being and fruition. And wow, things went dark. I am in the shade. Who knew it would make that much of a difference? And for those who've known me for a long time, I'm in shade. I don't know. Weird in joke. Not even going to try. Okay. Pulling myself back in to orient you to this particular vodcast. Can we call it a vodcast? It's a video podcast. I am driving, as I was saying, on the commute. I'm trying out pairing an abysmal perspective with a witch's perspective so that the information and topics are related. I think it adds, at least for me, kind of a nice flow of the exploring an idea from a more mundane side and seeing it as, I'm a witch. It's my perspective. So I'm not saying all witches have the perspective, but this particular one has the perspective that they have and are sharing them. And I'm now talking about myself in the third person, and that is weird. And then moving into here and this, which is an abysmal perspective, which essentially comes down to I'm kind of assuming some base level of knowledge and information with regards to modern magical practices so that I don't have to necessarily go into really beginner concepts to get into kind of fun discussions. That said, for today, I don't know that that's actually going to be necessary. So some episodes may be a little bit more like that, some may be a bit less. Because what I was talking about on a witch's perspective was the notion of doing less with more being more attention, more awareness, more concentration and focus and intention. And there was a moment as I was going through that, and I was mentioning about how those qualities also apply to working with magic. It was specifically about awareness and getting an awareness of what I would call Arcanum. So, okay, this is going to necessitate a moment of definition because this is me and my language. Welcome to Abysmal Language. This is the Abysmal Dictionary. And in the Abysmal Dictionary, Arcanum is life, death, but it is the magical energy that generates from life and death that is flowing through everything. It is the substrate, it is the force, the living force, and the eternal force, if you want to go Star Trek-y, because, some things really just easy to use as ways to describe and explain things. So that's Arcanum for me. And so having awareness of Arcanum how do we get there? Because good golly, Miss Molly, it is not the easiest of things. Now, there are people for whom there's, they have second sight or some other sense. And we are very visually focused as human beings. It's rather annoying as somebody who's not overtly visual in how I engage with visualizations and other such things. Seriously, the language is rife with notions of visual and eyesight and all the rest of it when it comes to the senses. So how do we come to this grokking, if you will? So there's a word for you that comes from old sci-fi, I think. I want to say like Heinlein, or not Clark, probably Heinlein. But grokking is you get it. When you grok something, you get it at almost a fundamental level. It is not necessarily so explainable, but you grok it. Yeah, you get it. You grok it. It's the best I can do right now. And in some ways, that's what we're trying to do when it comes to having awareness of Arcanum, is trying to get a sense of it. We're trying to get a perception of it. We're trying to go, can I perceive anything that is happening through my senses, where my senses are picking up information from that which is unseeable, unexperienceable directly in the world. So that was a lot of gobbledygook, wasn't it? What we're trying to get into is, for me, there was this real difficulty when I got started, so very long ago, where, there was that, like, and then you'll see the energy come out of the tip of your finger. And I'm like, I'm going to see it. And I am autistic. I identify as autistic. I have ADHD. You tell me I'm going to see energy. I'm waiting to see it. And that lack of tangible, physiological, somatic experiencing in the way that I experience the physical world as a general rule, the mundane world, really left me with this conundrum. Like, is it happening? Is it not happening? If I can't sense it in this obvious way with my senses, is it real? Is this happening? So, not an easy thing to work through, but it is something that can be worked through, I guess, is where I'm going with all of this. I don't even know that I had a particular place that I was trying to arrive at with this discussion, at least with the other half of this talk. I knew kind of where I was headed. This one is more of a exploration. I'm a verbal processor, right? I do well with sound. I actually am more likely to perceive Arcanum in a gravitational sense. Sorry about that, as I just move and mess with the microphone. My bad. It's just the seatbelt doesn't like to sit where I want it to sit, and it's sitting on the seatbelt. It doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah. So I don't perceive by sight. Some people do. And I said it a little bit earlier, I think, but I want to reiterate that it isn't necessarily a great or easy thing for those people who are perceiving very directly the unseen world, because it is not how our society, our culture, our world and environment is set up for us to work in. We are set up to work in the mundane world. Our brains are really wired that way. It's easier to lose our balance with our sanity. Rough as that may be to say, it's still true. And very easy to go off the rails with other people and relationships as you try to find that balanced path between understanding what you're perceiving and what is real and what is not real. So, and having it easy in that place can also mean that don't have to do a lot of work up front, and then the work later becomes harder. There is something to be said for if you had to work really hard up front, the things that happen down the road can sometimes be easier because of all the work you do in the beginning phases. Does that mean that I don't care if I ever actually get to see actual, literal, with my eyes blue crackly energy coming out of my finger? No. Do I want to be like in the School of Good and Evil where their finger lights up? I mean, goofy as that whole thing was. I enjoy the movie, don't get me wrong, but the finger lighting thing was kind of goofy. E.T. phone home! E.T. phone home! But I would love to actually perceive to the same degree of perceptual solidity Arcanum as I do the mundane world. Yeah, I really would. But I don't. So instead, I'm going to keep talking for a few minutes more on the other avenues in for those of us who are not graced and burdened with very clear and direct perception of the unseen. For us, it can feel like a lot of pointless floundering in the dark, a lot of faith, and I was a science child. Oh my goodness. I mean, I had woo-woo in some ways growing up. My mom had a book on pyramid power and the power of stones and crystals. It was kind of always there that there's more to be experienced and more that can happen. Like magic wasn't talked about or engaged with, in any real way, but kind of always had the feeling that, sure, it's in the fantasy books and stuff, but there's still a little something there that's real, right? Right. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. That got ugly. If you're watching, I'm sorry. Very sorry how that actually. Apparently, my nudge, nudge, wink, wink is quite tragically bad. Anyhow. But I still grew up very sciencey and proof, which is also why I would love to have a more, don't mind me rubbing my eyes, it's just been a long work day and my eyes get tired and then they get a little burny, and if I don't wipe them with a Kleenex and I just use my finger, oh my God, I won't be able to see for minutes. Out of one eye. Always make sure I have at least one eye that is functional while driving, so I don't die and take other people with me, because that would be a really horrible thing for everybody involved. I don't want to be that person. That's just wrong, which is why I'm hands-free and we're just hanging out, and I don't even have to turn sideways to look at you as you're driving in the car with me. High five. So, as I sort of alluded to, sort of said already, there are multiple senses. So one of the things to really let go of, as I'm saying this, I realize that to get to a perceiving of Arcanum when it is not natural, there's a lot of letting go. There's a letting go of that expectation that it is going to be clear and solid and visual or actual sound or actual anything, that it may be it may be, like I said, gravitational. Took me, it was like decades, plural, before I realized that a fair amount of my magical and Arcanum perception comes in the form of gravitational awareness. Yeah, funky. You can also get it with time. It can become through your sense of time, proprioception. So we have more senses. We have hot and not just sight and sound and taste and smell and touch. Or perhaps you could take touch and go, touch is not just touch, it is proprioception, which is your sense of an awareness of yourself within space. It is knowing that my hand is to the right of my head, and now it's closer to my head, and now it's farther from my head, right? I have an awareness of where my body is in space, proprioception. I have awareness of temperature. I don't have AC in this car. I love my car. It's a long story. I'm not going to burden you with it. Let me just say, my car is safer today after being at the mechanic yesterday, but it is no cooler, which is what it went in for. Sadness. So anyhow, temperature, gravity, sharpness, that is very much inside of touch. But even with touch, is it pressure? Is it texture? Is it there is temperature there. There are qualities, additional qualities that can come into play. And thus different ways that we can actually be aware. So the sliding through, it's like, how do you get from the veil of But this is what I know when it comes to awareness. How do I get to knowing that what I am perceiving that I'm not actually perceiving, but I think I'm perceiving is something that I'm actually perceiving and not something that I'm deluding myself about? Which, while technically true and parsable, is still probably sounding really weird. So when we're trying to perceive Arcanum, how do we move to an actual, like, agreed upon perception? Like, so if you have a group of people that you work with, then you can play fun games like making energy balls. Yeah, classic way is rub your hands together. Right? I'm not going to do it right now. I'm driving. It's a, I could actually probably slap my face. It seems a bit daft. It's not the best way, but you rub your hands together. That friction creates heat. Heat is in actuality energy, right? Literally actual, like, kinetic energy. And the Arcanum follows the natural energies plus, right? It's all of those natural energies. It's the living energy. So it's within the plants that are around you. It's in the aura, if you will, of the plants. And there is more of it going on than just what is rooted into the physical plane, if you will. So how do we move from a perception of the mundane realm into a perception of the unseen realm? Sorry, I had to back up my brain there a little bit. I know, I'm revisiting territory. I was going to say regurgitating territory. I mean, I guess I am with the words, same words over again. Oh, that's kind of... Okay, moving on. So in a group, you can do the energy ball kind of thing. You rub your hands together. You get that sense of energy. And you play with pushing more energy from the environment, from the heat of your hands. You can... I'm not going to go into... That's a different thing, different day on actually how to do it. But conceptually, you make a ball of energy. Again... an abysmal perspective. You probably have already experienced and done this. So you take the ball of energy and give it a color. Start simple and you give it a color. And because you're in a group, what do the other people perceive? Or maybe somebody else has made the ball and you're trying to perceive. And let it talk to you the way it's going to talk to you. So for example, maybe I make a green ball. Conundrum. Who got here first? I think it was me. Does that mean I get to go first? Oh, why, thank you. Oh, how polite. How strange. So I make a green ball. And somebody in the person to my left goes, I smell, maybe they smell something herbish. They smell like herbs. Maybe somebody else feels like a soft texture and you're like, this isn't green, this isn't. But maybe if I go into that energy, what does the energy, if I go and I feel into it, oh yeah, there is actually, that was interesting sound. Okay. Oh, I know what it was. Maybe there is a bit of texture to it. But also what I'm trying to get at very poorly and long-windedly is that I created green, but if somebody doesn't perceive color well, they're going to probably fall back into a different sensational perception about what the energy is doing. So it's a good way to calibrate, essentially. If you're working with a group, you can start calibrating and playing with, and not just balls, but, do you create, have somebody do something with the energy, and where it happened for me, where it really was like, okay, I'm getting this with the help of a friend who had a much stronger awareness and perception of energy, and therefore had stronger skills than I did in manipulating energy at that time. Well, actually, is that actually fair to say? I mean, my skills weren't bad. It's just I wasn't... When you don't have that direct touch, it's really freaking annoying. All right, I am now trapped. I am trapped. And now I go this way and I am untrapped. Hallelujah. Okay, back with you. So what I described as a sensation was that like there was something going through my hand, and so like this long kind of thing. He's like, yeah, that's actually exactly. He'd made like a long dagger thing and was stabbing my hand with it. Friends, what are you going to do? We all have special relationships with our special friends. But it was a moment where I'm like, okay, it was a direct feedback that was very reassuring to me. And I could go, what somehow I was perceiving in the thing, and it was real, and I was getting it right. Now that is very dangerous territory, that concept of needing to get it right, because there's a lot more flex than we think about. It's not right or wrong. It's expanding our awareness, step by step, perception moment by experience moment, until we start to get more of a sense of it. And I think I'm actually going to start wrapping it up there because I'm getting close to home. So that probably makes a lot of sense for me to do so. But hopefully you're getting this idea that there is absolutely ways to get better awareness with Arcanum. And that awareness, we need to bring our attention into the game, and we need to have focus on what we're doing, and we need to control, work on our control of what is happening. Because if you're creating an energy ball, by creating it, you're working on your control, your ability to manipulate it and to make it do what you want, right? It takes practice. Awareness, attention, intention, focus, control. Yeah, the things, all the 5 things that I wanted to talk about come into play as you're working on building your skills with Arcanum. But really, yeah, getting past that awareness hurdle. It's a thing for those of us who do not easily perceive it, and building up trust in it is a journey. It is not instantaneous, and it can come with questions for a long time afterwards. And it's learning, it's being open to the feedback from, if you're lucky, other people working magically near you who can give you direct feedback. If you don't have that, of taking the feedback from the energies that you're working with, that one gets a little trickier, because you then have to balance that with, is this storytelling I'm doing in my own head, or is this information I'm actually receiving from outside of myself? But that is a topic for a different day. Much love, much gratitude to any and all of you who have arrived to share in this rambling discussion. Thank you, my weirdos and wildlings, my tribe, as it were. Take great care of yourself. Blessings of the dark and bright and the weird and wild to you. Blessed be. Oh, and because I'm new and just getting started, if you could do like and share video, that would be lovely. Also, really sorry that I hit the mic on that one. That probably sounded horrible. Okay, take care.